Saltburn is the most recent movie to be trending all over social media. Everyone's talking about this movie. I watched it. Is it any good? Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? My name is Trevor. Welcome back to the channel. Saltburn is the brand new Emerald Fennell movie. I'm a big fan of her previous film and Promising Young Woman. This is starring Barry Keoghan, Jacob Elordi, Rosamund Pike. You have a fantastic cast throughout this entire movie. It's trending everywhere. This is supposed to be one of the craziest, most absurd movies of 2023. It's weird. It's going to make you feel lots of things. And, well, I felt lots of things throughout this movie, and I don't know how many of them were good and how many of them were bad. Going into this, my wife really wanted to watch it. That's why I ultimately ended up watching it. I saw one trailer for this movie, and it was like, I'm probably never going to watch it. It's kind of one of those movies that just didn't really gravitate me. The trailers didn't really sell me. My wife said, this is all over TikTok. Let's watch it. And so, essentially, we went in pretty blind to this, and it's one of those movies I think you should go into blind, because first off, the trailers aren't going to show you all that much throughout the entire film as to what it's going to be about. It's going to have these weird kind of vibes throughout the trailer, but also, stay off social media and just go and watch this movie, because it's one of those movies that the more you think about it, the more you're probably going to like it. First and foremost, if you've seen Promising Young Woman, you know who Emerald Fennell is. She's absolutely great with her scripts and her direction, and that holds true here. She knows her way around the camera. Several of the shots, my wife, who doesn't even care about this, she was like, dang, cinematography, fire. Those shots look amazing. And that's really true. Emerald Fennell is really one of the best working directors today. The movie, it looks beautiful. The score is beautiful. The script is very interesting, the way they tell the story. Barry Keoghan's almost narrating throughout it, kind of letting you know from his point of view what exactly is happening throughout the entire film. And the performances in this movie, nothing short of spectacular. Jacob Elordi, he's just beautiful to look at. He's a very handsome guy, but also he kills it in this movie. Barry Keoghan's really starting to work his way up into Hollywood, really becoming a leading man, and he is so weird throughout this movie. And this entire movie is weird. It's wacky. It's wild. It's a movie that makes you feel so many emotions. Sometimes you're going to laugh. Sometimes you're really going to want to look away and cover your eyes. There's a scene with the grave. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. I mean, just, man, had to cover my eyes. That was a weird one. But the entire time, it keeps you guessing. It's almost like you're watching a mystery the entire film, because you have no idea what Barry's character is doing. Why is he here? Why do these people like him? Why do these people not like him? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? How is this movie going to end? You have so many questions throughout the entirety of the film that's what keeps you watching. That's what keeps you engaged. That's what keeps you literally guessing throughout the entirety of it. You gotta give a shout out to Rosamund Pike. She comes to play every single movie. I mean, I kind of haven't seen her really since Gone Girl all those years ago, and her in this, she's great. She's absolutely fantastic, but this movie is weird, and that's the one thing I can hold to it. It's hard to recommend because this is definitely a movie that is not for everyone because of how weird it gets several times. And there's, again, such a mystery around Barry Keoghan's character, and there's lots of questions I still have. But the mystery of his character is probably the most interesting part about the entire film, and the dynamic with the family and everyone on why they like this guy. There's just that mystery element all around that you just know something weird is going to happen. And when those weird things start to happen, you're really starting to put it all together piece by piece. And you really don't even have a full understanding of this movie until the last 5-10 minutes of it, when Barry Keoghan, who's been narrating throughout, kind of lets you know everything that went down. You get all the answers you're looking for, which I was really hoping, because if it ended open-ended, I would have been pretty upset. But there are lots of questions, and the more I think about this movie, it's one I want to watch again, but it's also one that I'm really starting to enjoy more and more, and it is kind of working its way up into that top 15 range of the entire year because of how weird it was, and how I haven't stopped thinking about it since I've watched it. I have lots of positives for this movie, but a couple of the negatives is at times it wasn't making all that much sense for me. I was really confused several times throughout the movie with lots of questions, then kind of just having to infer and put it together as to what I thought. But at times it made it a little bit confusing. I was like, is that actually happening? What's exactly actually happening here? What is the relationship between Jacob Elordi and Barry's character? Are these two actually in love, or are they just friends? What is the actual relationship with the two of them? There was a couple questions with the characters, and that's something I kind of found myself being frustrated with when the credits started to roll. That I had some questions, but nonetheless, this movie is just weird, it's wacky, and it's wild, and by the time the end credits roll, you really just went for a roller coaster of emotions because it gives you lots of things to feel throughout the entire movie. It's one of those movies, the more I think about it, the more I like it. I watched it a couple of days ago, really to think on it, and I gave it a 3 out of 5. I'm really starting to come up to a 4 out of 5, and that's what I'm going to stick with today. 4 out of 5 for Saltburn. If it gets nominated for Oscars, I might be rooting for it. And that's my thoughts on Saltburn. A weird, wacky, wild time with fantastic performances, beautiful direction, and a story that's going to make you feel all kinds of things. If you haven't seen it, it is on Amazon Prime right now. Definitely go and check it out. It's a hard one to watch. Definitely don't watch it with kids at all. Not a good movie for kids or your parents. Just maybe watch it by yourself alone.